Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. Today, I'm so excited. We're going to be making something with my favorite designer series paper at the moment, a cute stationery box. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. My name is Lori from Loritamarie Crafts, and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Calgary, Alberta. And I come here live so that I can give you fun tips, techniques, ideas, inspiration to help you create beautiful paper crafting projects and find joy in being creative. And yeah, it's just really fun to hang out here with you guys, and I hope that you find some of these ideas helpful and that you can take away something every week to help yourself make the time to be creative. And one of the ways that I find joy in being creative is designing classes. And I love to design classes because I get to kind of push my own creativity in coming up with some new ideas. And so this month, I'm so excited about my Stamp and Create class. So my Stamp and Create class is one that I do monthly, and it's totally online. And what's so perfect about it is that you can do it anytime, whatever works for you. It's super flexible. So you can get the products if you live in Canada, and I prep a whole kit for you. So everything's ready to go so you can get creative, or you can just get the tutorial if you live anywhere outside of Canada. And it's just waiting for you. You've got lifetime access. It's a full video, step-by-step tutorial. And what's great is that you just do it when you want. And like, I know my sister's a teacher and she like saves them up for summertime or when she's got a break, because otherwise she's too busy. So she's been catching up on a few. So they're so flexible. And this month is so cute. It features some products from the Mediterranean Blooms suite. So it's so perfect for July. It just screams July to me. It's so pretty. And it's a mini, like a flip fold album. Right, so it's kind of a nice size. It's 5 by 7. I wanted to make one that was a little bit bigger, and I'm not going to show you everything inside, but I'm going to open it up so that I can give you a little sneak peek here. Excuse me. It's always hard to untie the bow once you get going. So it's designed to, you can use it for whatever purpose you want, but maybe you want to use it for like a little summer memories album, or as a gift for a special occasion, an anniversary or a birthday, or just, yeah, something even for you that you can just tuck onto your shelf. And so it's got like pockets and flip, it's going to flip out and stuff. And I've shown you where you can put pictures, but it's totally flexible and customizable to whatever you want. So next Thursday, so you got one more week to sign up. The registration details are always on my website, which is loritamarie.crafts.ca. And you can just check under shop classes, or it's also on my blog too. So it's called the July Stamp and Create class. And yeah, it's going to be super awesome. It's open for everybody. And so I'm sure you guys will love to learn how to make this project. So I hope that you sign up for it. Okay, so I hope you guys are doing well. I know in Calgary, it is hot this week. And we keep saying that, but we typically don't get temperatures in the 30s that often, and it's like going to be 30 all week. So we're just living it, and next week too. So my craft room, I'm just going to point you down here. My craft room is in my basement, which is nice because it's nice and cold, but then it's almost like too cold, but I don't want to complain. We're very fortunate. We do have air conditioning because for medical reasons, for my husband, he really needs to have air conditioning. So otherwise he will wilt and it will not be good. So we do have it, which is a luxury, I know, and so we're enjoying it. So I hope you're able to stay cool wherever you are. Maybe find a little crafting space and some time to get creative. Hello, thanks guys for watching. So today, like I said, I'm going to be showing off my favorite designer series paper at the moment. And I don't know about you, but it ebbs and flows, right? Whatever your favorite is at the moment. But you can kind of see which one I'm going to use here. I'm going to show you it in the catalog. It's the Wildly Flowering designer series paper. Now, at first glance, I don't know what you thought about it. I'd love to know what you thought about this suite at first glance. These are the 2023 to 2025 in colors. And they're more subtle and muted, definitely, than this year's, which are fun and vibrant and sunny. And so some of these colors have had to grow on me a little bit, but there's something about this paper that I loved from the second that I saw it. And I was trying to think why. Does it remind me of like really pretty wallpaper? Does it make me think of a cute English cottage somewhere, which I would love? So I don't know, but it's just so pretty. So I'm going to show you the one side first. And of course, there's always 6 sheets, 6 designs, but double-sided, so really 12 designs. And you get 12 sheets in a package. And even wild wheat, which is not my favorite color, it even looks good in that. I don't know, it's pulling it off. So floral, pretty. And so I was thinking that this would look great in a stationery set where you can just focus on the DSP. It's not too fussy, but it would make a beautiful gift, or to create yourself your own set of note cards. And so then you can see, as always, you've got that lovely coordinating paper. I especially love this one that looks kind of like linen. It's so pretty. Some of them have like those flowers kind of worked into it. Some have more detail. This blue also has that kind of linen look. And so you've got the in colors, plus you've got Misty Moonlight, Crumb Cake, Mossy Meadow, and so and Early Espresso. So we're gonna get into all those colors today. So the first thing we're gonna do is make our box. So this is a stationery set that also comes with a little box. And I just made it to size for regular cards. So cards are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm making it just a little bit bigger so that it will fit those cards nicely. So we want to cut this to, this is Moody Mauve, by the way. So you can make any base that you want, right? So any colors that are in the paper, I'm going to use Moody Mauve. So we're going to cut this to 7 7/8, and then 6 1/2. And this is just my Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer, and so I did need the extension there. And then we're going to score it at 1 inch on all 4 sides. So all boxes are created essentially the same, and then you just got to determine how big you want it to be and adjust your dimensions from there. I remember finding boxes a little overwhelming at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually really easy to customize your size to exactly what you need. So this will be the base. Hello. And I'm just going to burnish all my folds. I see got a couple Americans on here. Do you say Moody Mauve or Mauve? I've heard some Americans say Mauve. It sounds that's strange. You know, as Canadians, we take a lot of things from British, so I think the British say mauve, and that's why we say mauve. Okay, so we've got our 4 score lines here, and then on the shorter side, I'm just going to cut up this score line here up to the next score line. Okay, so again, this is just all standard, same procedure to make any kind of size box. And we'll just snip these up. And then I like to just wedge out the corner. So let's see. Go from the score line here and then wedge it down like this. And the reason you do this is just so when your box is put together, it's not peeking out the top. So it's just like it's just a detail. Just a small detail. And I can use scissors. There we go. Holding that weird, and now I've cut it weird here. Okay. And then it's kind of easier to go from the score line down to the outside. You kind of have to flip your box around to whatever is comfortable for you. Okay. And then you're going to flip it to, this will be the outside of the box. And then you're going to put adhesive on the 4 tabs. So you want to use something secure and like Seal Plus or your tear and tape. And so I am going to use tear and tape so that this holds together really well. That's just even stronger than Seal Plus. And you don't have to use your scissors. It really does tear. But just to get kind of, when it's smaller like this, sometimes it's easier just to use your scissors. And if your scissors get sticky, you can just use some rubbing alcohol. I just use like a paper towel and some rubbing alcohol, and then it gets all the sticky off. Because actually sticky scissors is kind of annoying. So maybe I'll just rip the last one there. There we go. I was making some fun favors this week. I have a class on Saturday, and I like almost went through a whole roll of tear and tape. So it's fun to make 3D projects sometimes, and tear and tape is great for that. All right, we're just going to peel the backing off of this, and then we've got the base of our box. And like I said, it's going to look good. You can choose any of the colors that are in this paper, and it's going to look good. So I'm just tucking them inside each end here. Okay, and that's our box. And so it's going to fit a card perfectly, a set of cards. Deep enough to fit a set of cards, and it's envelopes. Don't forget when you're sizing a box, it's also got to fit the envelopes inside. So to make the lid, I'm not going to show you the whole thing step by step, only because I didn't have a big enough sheet of window sheets. So I'm going to walk you through it though. So you could make a lid with cardstock, and then you could decorate the top and everything like that. But I thought it would be fun to create a clear lid with our window sheets. So window sheets come in a pack of 2 12 by 12 sheets. And just do what the sizing. I only had 1 sheet left, and I couldn't get 2 out of 1 sheet. So I'm just going to walk you through, give you all the dimensions so that you have it. So when I'm making a lid, I make it 1/16 larger than the box, and then it just fits over just right. So what you want to do is you want to cut your window sheet to 7 15/16. I know that's kind of detailed, but and then 6 by 9/16. Okay. So based on your box space, that's just 1/16 larger. And then I'm going to score it the same 1 inch on all 4 sides. So a couple tips I found. One sec here. I usually use my paper trimmer for scoring, but I just found the window sheets, I wanted to go harder. So I actually used my scoring, what is this called these days? Simply Scored. And just went to the 1 inch mark and then used the bigger end of the scoring tool of the stylus and just really kind of made a nice deep groove on the window sheet. And then when you get to burnishing your folds, you're really going to want your bone folder and to really make crisp folds. So let me show you the completed version. So you really want to like press down, and then you're going to get that nice crisp fold, and it really holds this well, right? And then I did the corners the exact same way that I did the box base. So I don't know if you guys have tips or anything like that, but I didn't want to see the adhesive on the side, but it's clear. So what are you going to do about it? So I found glue dots were stronger. The tear and tape actually did not hold well on the window sheets. Glue dots held really well, and then it's just like a little subtle. I just needed 2 dots kind of on each end, and then it's not like this super obvious adhesive on the end. And then it's going to fit. Let me just. There we go. And then you can see that that's a nice, perfect fit. So 1/16 larger than the base, and then you're going to get that nice fit. Okay, so now we're going to make the cards. And so what I wanted to accomplish with the cards was to really show off that paper. And I want it, when you're making a set, you want it to be uniform. You don't want every card to look massively different than the one before. So I'm going to show you 5 different designs. All have a similar base to start with, but then I've tweaked each one just a little bit so that it's got its own character to it, right? So I'm just using thick basic white, and this is all just standard card size. So 5.5 by 8.5, scored in half at 4 1/4. And then every one I have chosen a piece of designer series paper. And so this is my favorite one, I think, with the crumb cake background. And so this is what we're going to start with. So this one's my favorite one. And then I just chose a piece of cardstock that goes with it. And each card has the same size cardstock base, and it's 1/8 smaller than the size of the card. And so that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And that's just to create a narrow mat on your card. Did I say this was Mossy Meadow? Maybe I did. This is Mossy Meadow, which is actually in Stampin' Up's Neutrals family. And then I wanted to have the DSP all cut at 4 inches so that you could get the most out of your DSP instead of cutting in a weird size, right? So 4 inches, then you've got your 4-inch strips on your DSP, and then it's easy to cut. But they're all slightly different. For this first one, we're keeping it simple, and it's just going to be cut to 4 by 5 1/4. Oops, sorry. And then we're just going to put this on with our seal. And so sometimes your cards are all about the fancy techniques and the stamping, and sometimes it's just kind of figuring out how to highlight a certain element of it. And on a busy paper, you don't want to add a whole lot of other stuff going on. And so I like this. I mean, isn't that pretty just on its own? So pretty. And then I wanted to have all my sentiments embossed. If you don't have any embossing stuff, then for sure just stamp on white. So I would just use the coordinating colors. You've got white cardstock, then I would stamp in Mossy Meadow. So I'm going to emboss, and so I've cut out a label piece in Mossy Meadow, and we're going to emboss in white. So a few tips on embossing, if that's newish to you, is that Stampin' Up! Has this great little embossing kit here, and so you get all these, not this, you get these things all together. So you get this cute tray, you get the buddy, which you need, I'll tell you that in a minute. You get little tweezers and a little paintbrush to help you get off the extra powder. And then you can buy embossing powder. One set is all basics, like white, black, clear, and the other one's like metallic, so gold, copper, bronze, silver, I think. Okay, I can't remember everything in it. And then you're going to need a Versamark ink pad, which is what the powder sticks to. So that's the basics. Embossing has been around a long time, and it is it's like my favorite thing on a card. It just like makes it look more polished and finished, and I just love it. So I've already gone ahead and cut out my pieces, but you can for sure stamp first and then cut out your pieces. And I'm just using label shapes. I've used the Nested Essentials dies or the Stylish Shapes dies. So those are two of Stampin' Up's great dies, like label die sets at the moment. And this is the banner shape, the larger one. And this just helps resist powder for where you don't want it to go. And then our sentiment. I haven't talked about our sentiment yet. So I wanted sentiments that all went together but had different ones, right? So layering leaves comes with a coordinating punch for these leaves. But the sentiment, look, the font is so pretty, and you've got such a variety, right? So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different sentiments. And so I could choose a different one for every card, but they all go because they got the same font, but then every one can be different, right? So I'm just going to be embossing this first one, and the rest of the cards I've done ahead of time so that we don't have to watch me do that 5 times. So I'm going to start with the thank you so much, and then we'll ink that up in our Versamark, get our piece straight, and it's a photopolymer so you can see if you're stamping straight, and then get that off. And then don't let it dry too long before you put your powder on. And then I kind of always overdo it and maybe shake it around. And don't be afraid if you need to go on a second time to get good coverage. And then a light tap. And I found I used to flick the back. I don't really do that anymore because it took off way too much powder. So you could use the brush that came with the set, or maybe a tinier one. Sometimes I use a smaller one than this one. And then you can kind of get off the extra powder that's where you don't want it to be. But also that's why you want your embossing buddy, because it's really going to help you. I'm just going to move out of the way before I spill powder all over myself. Keep your Versamark closed so it doesn't dry out. And then you can use your tweezers to hang on to it so you don't burn your fingers. And then you need a heat tool. This is Stampin' Up. You just go to number 2. And then, let's come up here. You'll see it start to change as you heat it up. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not. So just make sure it's all turned shiny. Then you turn it off. And that's your little basic embossing tutorial for today. And then doesn't that look just so nice, just kind of simple? And so I'm going to do kind of what I always do, which is linen thread. And so if you've got, which now I can't. Where did I put my linen thread? 1 second. Sure, I've got some somewhere. Here's some. I kind of always say this every week, but this is just what I like on my cards. So whatever, if you want thicker ribbon, if you've got in your stash, I didn't have any ribbon in the colors that were in these cards, to be honest. So if you've got ribbon in your stash that's the right colors, then you can just use that. Actually, that needs to be longer. You may want to start with like 12 inches, and then you can always trim it off if it's too long. Linen thread is like a good staple. It's like $7 for a pack. And then I always just loop it back and forth and then stick it in a glue dot and tuck it behind my sentiment. And now that I do it all the time, my cards look weird to me if I don't do it. So this is strictly a preference thing. So I just loop it back and forth and then tuck it behind like this. And then I'm going to grab some dimensionals. And I think I actually might need a new sheet. So I'm just going to snip up the edge of this one here. Dimensionals, maybe one in the middle. And then I'm just going to put that kind of to the upper part of the card. Try to center it. And then the embellishments that come in this suite, they're actually really hard to see how awesome they are in the catalog. In person, I'm going to try to get that nice and close. Can you see the texture on there? They're just called textured dots, adhesive back textured dots. And they're kind of metallic. And they're just really nice. I don't know how to describe it. They're just a lot nicer than even I was picturing. And I think they're like a good staple. Like they'll look good on a lot of different projects. And we'll just fold up our card. And this is the first one. And then we'll just walk you through how I slightly tweaked the design for the next 4 cards. And you can see those dots. I always just put 3, 2 in one spot and 1 up at another spot. And that's the first one. So then we're just going to take the same basic idea and tweak it. So I want to just give you the measurements for the DSP each time, but then I'll just show you the completed card. So for the next one, we're going to use the same card base, and this time I'm going to use Misty Moonlight as the next layer, right? So this is creating our cohesive look because the base layer is the same on every card. So 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then the next pattern is this lovely one that's mostly blue. And I'm going to cut this one. Actually cut this one a little skinnier than what I said. So this one's 3 3/4. And then I want it as tall as this, so 5 3/8. Okay. So I'm not going to put all of them together just so, but we'll center this. And then this one is giving us kind of a more elongated look there. And then I went and cut out with this shape here from the Nested Essentials dies in Misty Moonlight. So so I've got the same color there, and I did the Best Wishes and he embossed that. And then this time I put my twine kind of at the top. I also changed slightly where I put the twine every time. And then it just makes it look slightly different. So let's show you the completed card. Let's see where do I want to put that. I'll just tuck that up there. So here's the completed one for that. Right, so with the elongated look, then I chose to put the banner shape this way and then put my linen thread kind of at the top and use the same embellishments. Okay, so that's the second one. Now, for the third card, this time we've got our same card base, and this time for the base I used crumb cake. And this might be my second favorite pattern in this paper. Some of the blue background. Isn't that lovely? So pretty. So for this one, we're going to cut it to 4 inches. I actually made a card with this paper on my blog last week, so you should check it out on my website there for some more ideas with this paper. Then I'm going to cut it to 5 1/4. And we'll save that piece for another project. Okay, so I've got this like this. Now I'm going to cut 2 inches off the top. So we're going to keep our 2 inches. And then my goal is to have a little space. So I've got to create the space. So on the bottom of this one, I'm going to just trim off a little bit. And I'm just going to go a little bit past that gray piece of my paper trimmer and just trim off a tiny little bit. And then center that here. What that does is it gives me a little space. But you want to trim it off the bottom, otherwise you lose the continuity of the pattern. You want to kind of keep the pattern together. Okay, and so this time I've used another shape from the Nested Essentials dies, this one here. And I used the hello. It just fits so perfectly on that shape. And this is the smallest one of this shape. And then I centered it kind of in the middle there. And that's what this one looks like. So it's just subtle. You can make that a little bit wider if you want to. You just got to trim a little bit more off the bottom. But that is the third card. Then the next one. So we got this. And this time we're going to use Moody Mauve. And we're going to cut our DSP just slightly different again. So I've got it cut to 4 inches. And this time I'm just going to cut it a little bit shorter. Remember we had that tall one. This one's going to be a little different. So this one's going to be 4 by 4 3/4. Grab this again. And so then this time you've got a little border on the top and the bottom. And so then I wanted to put a circle. And I did So Happy to Celebrate You. And now I went with Early Espresso just to kind of pull out, because I have more mauve showing here on this pattern and everything. So just to create some contrast. So I went with Early Espresso. And when was the last time I used Early Espresso? Maybe with the coffee suite, the latte one. So I did this. And then the same thing. Twine is all cut to about 12 inches, looped behind. And then the same 3 embellishments. And I'm just obsessed. I forget, I love this stamp set. It looks good every time. All right, we got one more. So we've got our same card base, and this time I used Early Espresso as my backing. And this is our last pattern. Now, this is Wild Wheat. I did not use the Wild Wheat cardstock because I just can't get into it. Sorry, Wild Wheat. It's just something about it. It's just not my favorite. So it looks better with Early Espresso, but that's, again, entirely up to you. I'm going to cut this to 5 1/4. And this time, off the left side, I'm going to trim off 1 1/4 inches. So we'll keep that. And then we're going to do like we did on that other one. We're not on the joining piece, but on the opposite side. I'm going to trim off just a teeny bit, like a 1/16. And then once we're all done, I'm going to show you how the whole box, how we wrap up the whole box and have a tag and everything together. So this one's going to go like this. And you'd be amazed how just creating that little separation, just even that makes a big difference. And this time I used another piece from the Nested Essentials, and we did Thinking of You. And then I'm going to put it at the top with my twine. All right, now let's see how we put all this together. And now I have 2 sets. I can gift these to people. So let's pull out here. So you're going to need to get 5 envelopes. So don't forget to put your envelopes in the bottom. And then gather up the 5 cards that we made. And so you can see now when they're all together, they're all unique, but there's like a cohesiveness. They all look good together. Then we'll put our clear lid on top. And then we just want to keep it simple because it doesn't need to be decorated because the front card is your decoration, right? So I kind of forgot I had this, but these colors, the 2023, 2025 in colors, there's this fun jute that comes in all the colors. And it's so thick that sometimes I find it hard to put it on a card, but you know what? It looks great in gift packaging, right? So I've just got the Moody Mauve And I'm just going to wrap it around and then tie a knot. And so if you've got other ribbon or whatever that's coordinating with these colors, and then I've got a little tag to show you, but we'll just start with the knot so it stays in place. And then just to keep it similar with the shapes, I've got those nested dies again. So I've got the small, the little tag, and this time I cut it out of the DSP. I saw this in the catalog. And so this one that I said at the beginning that was kind of like linen looking, so it's on the back of this blue one. It's perfect for stamping on. So I've cut it out in this shape. So here's what it looks like. And then I've heat embossed it again because in this stamp set, of course, what's the last one? Well, I didn't use sending hugs, but for you, there's a perfect for you tag. So I went ahead and heat embossed that. It turns out great on the DSP. And then you can just hole punch it. I can't find my Stampin' Up! Hole punch. It's like in my house somewhere. So I've got this giant, that's kind of a large hole, but use whatever hole punch you've got. Tie your bow. And then you've got this cute little gift set. That looks like really professional, right? With the clear lid. I love it. All right, that is our project for today. Just hang with me for a second here. I hope that you like that, got some inspiration on how to make a cute little stationery box, how to fall in love with the wildly flowering DSP, which is so pretty, and I feel like it just wants to be kept simple. Just keep it simple. There is a bundle that goes with that paper that you can also get, and now I forget the name of it, but I don't actually have it. Oh, I lost my place too. Let's see what it is called. Wildflower Designs. Okay, so there is a coordinating bundle that goes with it, but you can see that you can pair it with any sentiment that you love. So I hope that you loved it. Don't forget, if you want to get creative or try something new, you can take my Stamp and Create class. We're going to make this super cute, like flip fold album. And the deadline is, you just have a week left to sign up and register for that. And then it's going to come out to you at the end of July. Or if you get the tutorial, which is available for anybody, you will, that last week of July, I'll send out the link to the video and then you can watch it whenever it's convenient for you. So I hope you guys are doing well, that you have a good weekend coming up, and then we'll be back next week with some more fun projects. So until then, I'll see you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.